Hey Cupcakes, I participated in the Our Fantasy Bingo board, and this is how I did. There's 25 prompts on the Our Fantasy Bingo board. Fortunately, I'm not going to be doing the 2025 board. I looked into the prompts that they have announced, and it is just a little too complicated and very niche of what book you would need, but I am going to go over really quickly the books that I picked for the prompts and if I completed them, and also if I did the hard mode. I will say, first and foremost, I did do the hero mode, which, first of all, hard mode and hero mode doesn't get you any kind of reward, but if you do complete the full bingo board, and then you go on to the next year, you just get a number added to your account for every time you complete a board. But I did do hero mode, which is just doing a review for every book that you read during this time frame, and some books I have hard mode and some I didn't. So first things first, the first square going from left to right, and I will of course show a graphic of the bingo board, is first in a series, and it is read the first book in a series is easy mode, and then hard mode is the series is more than 3 books long. So for that, I read The Trial of Sorcerers by Elise Kova. I did complete it. I rated it and I did a review, and it did complete the hard mode because I think at this very moment they have at least 5, and they were coming out with one while I was reading the series. So that is the first prompt completed. And then also, I was going to say, there was something I was going to mention. Hard mode, easy mode, completed. Oh, I was going to say, the other thing that you have to remember for our fantasy bingo boards is that you cannot have a repeating author unless you have the short stories and you have an author from that list of short stories and you read a book that's just specifically for them, but that's the only time that they let you do that. And you can have one reread, which I did not have any rereads on my bingo board. So with that out of the way, the next prompt was alliterative title, which is read a book where multiple words in the title begin with the same letter. And then the hard mode was that there was at least 3 words with the same letter. So I did the Magical Midlife Madness by K.F. Breene. I completed this, and I also completed the hard mode for that. The third one is Under the Surface, which is going to be Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. The prompt for it was read a book where important setting is either underground or underwater, and the hard mode was at least half the book takes place underground or underwater. Not to spoil the book, but yes, part of the book, majority of it, is them underground. So that completed that prompt. The next one was Criminals, and the prompt was read a book with the main character is a criminal, and then it could be a thief, assassin, someone who commits mail fraud, etc. Hard mode is features a heist. I read Critical Role, Fox Machina, Kith and Kin by Marieke Nejkemp. It did complete the easy mode as well as the hard mode because they did in fact do a heist in that book. The next prompt is Dreams, which is that last row. I did Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros because the prompt was read a book where characters experience dreams, magical or otherwise, and then the dream is not mystical or unusual, just a normal dream or nightmare. I'm pretty sure the main character just had normal nightmares of like losing the love interest, I think. I'm not really sure. I read this at the very beginning of the year, last year. So, but it completed both those prompts. The next one in the next row, starting, is entitled Animals, and that prompt is read a book that has an animal in the title, and then hard mode is the animal in the title is a fantasy or sci-fi creature. So I did the Buttercross Dragon by Maria Grace, so I completed both the easy and hard mode for it. The next prompt is Bards, and it says to do read a book with the primary protagonist that is a bard, musician, poet, or storyteller. The character is explicitly called a bard for the hard mode. So I did Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, and yes, they call the character in there that is a bard, specifically a bard. So I completed that. The next prompt is Prologues and Epilogues, so I picked Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree because it has both. So I got the easy mode and hard mode. The next one is self-published or indie publisher. I picked The Kingdoms of Velspar by M.J. Spires. I never got to that book, but it did complete the hard mode task for that. The next book I did was The Romantasy. I did Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I completed it and also did the hard mode because it is, the main character is LGBTQ. So I completed that hard mode. And then the other self-published was that it had to be at least 100 ratings on Goodreads for the hard mode. And then also that it was a self-published book, but I never got to that book, so I never completed that task. The third row is Dark Academia. I went ahead and did Enchant Bellamar College of Magic by Josie Darling. It did the easy mode, but it did not do the hard mode, which was the school had to be mundane. It was a magical school. Next one is Multiple POV. I did 5 Kisses by Rachel Anderson. I did complete the easy mode of having multiple POV, but the hard mode was that it had to be at least 5 points of view, and it was only the 2 characters. Next one is published in 2024. I did Match Me If You Can by Swati Hedge. I did not read this book, but it was the first published novel for this author, so that I completed the hard mode for it. Then I did Character with a Disability. I did Monstrous, which is a graphic novel by Marjorie Liu. I completed it, and it did do the hard mode where the main character had a disability. Then I did Published in the 90s by L.J. Smith, The Awakening / The Struggle, which is the Vampire Diaries series. It was published in 1990s, but I did not do the hard mode where it was the where they published something in the last 5 years. She actually, I think, did this book and like a couple others, and then she passed away, sadly. So, yeah, but I did complete it. And then we did Orcs, Trolls, Goblins, Oh My. So I did Tangling with Trolls by Hazel Mack, which was the read a book with featuring this character, and then also that it's the main character, and the troll is the love interest in this book. So I completed the hard mode. The next book that I had was a space opera prompt. It was Architects of Destiny by A.K. DeBoeuf. I did not read this book, and it did not complete the hard mode, which was written by an author, marginalized gender identity. I don't actually even know what their identity is because it's one of those where it's on Goodreads where it's just a picture. The next book was Author of Color by Chloe Gahn. I did These Violent Delights. I did not read it, and it also did not complete the hard mode, which was be a debut novel published in the last 5 years. I think that came out in like 2021. So then we did Survival. I ended up doing Ice, a survival novella by Mike P. I did complete it, and it was hard mode because it was not a super virus or a pandemic. It was just a wilderness survival book where he was trying to save his friend and him from a icy accident. And then we did Judge a Book by its cover, which was Cobalt by A.L. Noor. It was a mermaid novella. I did complete it, and I judged it specifically on the cover to read it, so I completed hard mode. And then we have the last row, which is set in a small town. I did Rescued by a Small Town Billionaire by Amy Gracie, and the hard mode for that was the small town can be real or fictional, but the broader setting must be our real world and not a secondary world. It was like a little western town, so it wasn't like a fantasy world. The next one is 5 short stories. Hard mode was read an entire speculative anthology or collection. I did pick The Fairy Girl by Anthea Sharp, but I did not read it. Then I think because I had the hard mode was you had to read 5, or yeah, there was a collection. It was a collection of actually 5 short stories, but I never got to them. The next one is Eldritch Creatures. Hard mode is that the book is not related to Cthulhu. I did Only by Rachel H. Drake, and it was not Cthulhu, it was an angel, and I completed it. And then we have reference materials. I did Spectacular by Stephanie Garber, which is read a book that features additional materials such as a map, footnotes, glossary, transition guide, dramatized persona. Hard mode book contains at least 2 types of additional materials. It had a map in the front, and then it had little arts for each chapter and little like notes, and then she has like extra chapters at the end that has like her own switching of the chapter, how she would have wrote it at a different way. So yeah, that was actually a really cute book with all the different things it had in it, but I did complete that one. And then the last one we did was book club or read-along book. I had Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I actually read that with my husband for our read-along together by J.K. Rowling. I did complete it, and the hard mode for it was must read a current selection of either of a book club or read-along and participate in the discussion. and I completed that because it was our book club that we did. So that is it. So in total, I did 20 out of 25 books, making it 80%. I've already submitted my board to the form for the Reddit page and said that I did hero mode and did hard modes on certain ones. They asked you what prompts you'd like to come back later. Like I said, I'm not going to be competing into the 2025 Bingo Award. I've already looked into the prompts and they are very niche and specific of the books, but I'm very happy with how I did with this one because I mainly was trying to do just the top row because I only had criminals left to complete that row at like last month. And then I also had, what was the other one? Oh, and then the 3-word title with the same letter. I had that one left to do, and that was on Kindle. So I finished both of them on time to get all of those. But then I thought the time for the bingo card to be turned in was the 25th, but it was actually the 31st. So I went ahead and got these other little novellas that I picked for certain prompts in for those last 6 days, and I ended up completing 20 out of 25. So I'm very happy with that. That was all I wanted to show you guys, is just the books that I picked for those prompts and how well I did, and I will see y'all in the next video. Till then, stay sweet, cupcakes.